We are digging on it. We're picking up where we left off. We're about to get into some gematria, about to get into some Aleph, some Paleo, some Picto. We're like, wait, man, let's dig on this, man. A couple minutes, man. Love to y'all, love to the tribe. Shalom.
This inscription is very unique for several reasons. First, it is written in an ancient Hebrew script. Second, it is located near the small town of Los Lunas in the state of New Mexico, USA. Third, the inscription is of the 10 Commandments. Is this inscription an original or a fake?
Or 9 commandments, let's go.
If it is original, this proves that a Semitic people, probably Hebrews, arrived in the Americas long before Columbus or the Vikings.
Let's go.
This inscription is unlikely a fake for the following reasons. The actual time of discovery of the inscription is not known but was known by the locals as far back as the 1850s. At that time, the script of the text was unknown and therefore undecipherable. It was not until the late 19th century that the ancient Hebrew, Paleo Hebrew, script was discovered in the Near East. Once this ancient script was discovered and deciphered, it was possible for the Los Lunas inscription to be deciphered, and at that time it was found to be a copy of the 10 Commandments. When we compare the script on the Los Lunas inscription with this inscription found in 1993 at Tel Dan in the land of Israel, we find that the scripts are almost identical. Here is a comparison of the scripts from both inscriptions. The Tel Dan inscription was written around 1000 BCE. Since the Los Lunas inscription uses the same script, it is safe to conclude that the Los Lunas inscription was written by a Hebrew people about 3,000 years ago.
Stop. American. So they're finding this in America, in New Mexico, in Hawiku. We're digging on the Kalelas, Hawiku. We'll be back in that cities ago. We got so much pure water flowing. So just enjoy the flow. Kick back. Awah, breathe. You are secure. Love to hire, pop gold. The tribe, what's up? A native of America. Wait. So an American is a native of America? Yes. Originally. Oh. Applied to the aboriginals or originals or copper-colored races found here by the Europeans. But now applied to the descendants. Oh, they took the titles of Europeans born in America. So if they're finding this 3,000 years ago in America, then it can only be Paleo written by the copper-colored races found here or tribes found here from Cali to New York to Alabama to Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and everywhere in between, Wyoming, Wisconsin. We're going to get on some of this Atlan, Atalan. Love to CJ Battle, man. Love to the family, love to the folk for sending me this great drop, man. A native of America originally applied to the originals or copper-colored races. That is what an American is, the copper-colored race found here. Got it. Got it. Oh, yeah, we're going to dig on it. The Atalan Indians archaeological dig. We digging on it. Love to CJ Battle. So they're finding this 3,000 years ago. And Columbus brought a Hebrew interpreter to find you, Louis Torres, the convert. Why would Christopher Columbus bring an interpreter of Hebrew so he can speak to the Grand Khan of the Grand Canyon? The Grand Khan, the Israelite king, he brought a Hebrew interpreter to negotiate, to do what with the Israelite king, the Grand Khan? Prester John. Paleo Hebrew 3,000 years ago and how we cool. Let go.
Other ancient Hebrew inscriptions have been found around the country, including Tennessee and the Mississippi Valley. The Archaeological Outliers homepage includes other ancient Hebrew artifacts found in the United States. The article Who Really Discovered America also includes some very interesting information on the Los Lunas inscriptions as well as other finds, and includes a possible link between the gold of Solomon and the gold of Brazil.
Stop! Don't go so fast, computer. I know you're spitting out information. We got to get the babies out the bathwater. So you saying that there's a link between the gold in Brazil and the gold of King Solomon? Are we referring to Solomon the Builder, Sylvanus Texas? We're talking about Calais. We're talking about America people, Paleo in America people, copper color races in America people. We're just getting started.
Inscriptions as well as other finds, and includes a possible link between the gold of Solomon and the gold of Brazil.
Who is Prester John?
In April of 2006, the first line of the unprotected inscription was obliterated by vandals. The position of the stone has also shifted, possibly also related to the vandalism. No matter how much on the fringe you consider a subject to be, no one should feel that they have the right to damage and displace the subject of what some people believe to be serious scientific inquiry.
Serious scientific inquiry into the Los Lunas, New Mexico. How we cool. What's really popping here, man? You wanna know how to get there? All right. Like I'm saying, man, gematria. Let's just do it real quick. We're just talking wow. So numbers don't lie, right? So let's see, man. When you put in, this is just a link called gematrix.org. You can do other, gematria on your own. I'm just digging on this link. This is the first one I pulled up when I look for a link. All right. So you got gematria. All right. So in gematria, they could, it's pretty much breaking down the, the words, the symbols, the sounds, all into numbers. You know what I'm saying? So there's numerical equivalents, there's numerical values. That's what we're going to get to. First, we're just trying to dig on the alphabet, but we also got to start digging on the numbers, the code. You know what I'm saying? The sequence that you are. You are the image. You are the frequency. You are the sequence. There's a sequence for you. There's only something that can unlock within you. So we've been digging on the Hawa, love again to my man, great brother, great brethren, natural by law. Love to hire Mark, man. We just digging on this paleo. We're going to keep it going. Let me get the wheel, hire. Let's go. Man, our classroom is phenomenal, man. Love to the research team, man. You already know. Wah. So I put in Wah, W-A-H, calculated it. And what comes up is this Wah. Now I'm paying attention to the so-called Jewish, because it seems to be, in my estimation, more accurate than the English gematria or, simple gematria. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure there's more connectivity there. But, they may have more of a connection with the, with the Hebrew, even in the modern sense, with the numerical value equivalents. You know what I mean? So, Wah in Jewish, or just call it Hebrew gematria, equals 909. So if you remember the law of nines, 9 is the completion. You know what I'm saying? The root of the tree is 9. 1, 4, 4, 9. 4, 3, 2, 9. You know what I'm saying? You get the base of that, the 4, 3, 2, you're at the base frequency, the 216. So, we're in a situation of being in the 216 frequency, choosing up, getting into the frequency of our trees, into the 432, which now connects above the barrier. Then you have higher octaves, higher heavens. You double that, 864. You double that, 1728. You double that, 34, 3456. All right, so you keep doubling. You're higher octaves. So 9. Again, the law of nines is that whenever you see a 9, you can actually cross it out, because it's the wholeness, it's the completion. You know what I'm saying? It's the fulfillment. You know what I mean? Like right here, you see 192. You can take the 9 out and just go 1 plus 2, and that's 3, and that would be the total of that number. That's basic gematria. So that's the Wah. All right. Now let's put in Yah. Let's go quickly. I want to get to this arithology. And it's interesting because you see these other little, kind of like, results or similarities, you know what I'm saying, however they connect things. But look down here, because they're connecting some shit, honestly. They're connecting some real crazy shit, man. So you have Yah. Now you have 4 plus, in the Jewish or Hebrew gematria, you have 4 plus 9. All right, so you got that 13, or 1 plus 3 is 4. If you take out that 9 right away, law of nines, you can just take it right out. You got 4. So this is in the frequency of 4, not 9, the Yah. 9 plus 4 is 13. All right. You got words like Putin and enlightenment, heart attack, molecular, hey, ha, or hey, ha. Israelites, all right, D-Day, Judgment Day. Lion, bloodlines pops up. Rastafarian pops up. Attack Earth pops up. Come on, man. How do you put in Yah and get attack Earth? Behold a pale horse. You know what that's all about, right? So you got all this demonic stuff popping up with Yah. Again, let's look what it says with Wah. Let's go quickly. Again, you got the 9s. You're in the 9s. 9s. You're in the 9s. You're in the completion. All right, let's be fair. Let's see what we got here. All right, Cavaliers, Free Your Mind. Charlize Theron, The Holy Clues. Summary Choice, The Ground Key. I don't know. Got to Get Ready. I don't know. I'm looking in too much on this. Who knows? 1849. I don't know none of this. Stevie, Child Sex Predator. All right, that's, I don't know what's up with that. The Creator in Trabelo de Moor. Prophecy, right? I don't know. So you tell me what you find any connection in this results. You know what I'm saying? But it's just kind of, just paying attention, trying to see what's going on. I don't know what's up with that child sex predator. That's kind of weird. Let's go with, let's try it again, man. Let's go with Hey Ya. You know what I'm saying? Because we've been digging on that lately. And hit me if you got some other gematria links. I'm just trying to dig on it, trying to see what it is right before your eyes. All right, Hey Ya. All right, so you got the Jewish or Israelite gematria, 410. All right, that's 5. Okay. You got the Eve popping right up. Okay. Lust, different things, but Israel's real. All right. Eminem's not afraid. I don't know, man. I'm just playing down here. I don't know what this is. These are just other little, links, but it could be something, could be nothing. But you got the Hey Ya. I'm just looking at the numbers. 4, 1, so you have 5. Let's put an H at the end. Hey Ya. See what we got. Calculate. All right. So let's add this up. 4, 5. 5 plus 8 is 13. Same as Yah. Okay. Oh, look what pops down here. Illuminati, delusion, demonic alien race, the egg of Mu, the Torah coded, Microsoft. I mean, obviously you had the child predator thing pop up with Y, so I don't put too much in this. It could be whatever, but it's like it seems like it's more shit. It seems like it's more shit. I don't know. Illuminati, demonic alien race, egg of Mu, delusion. All that pops right up, right in your face bone. 4, 1, and then you got 13. Now let's go quickly. Let's go Hawa. Hawa. Okay. All right. 9, 1. All right. So that's just 1. That's 10, which is just 1. All right. You can take that 9 out right there. You just get 1, or just 10, drop the 1. So you get 1. All right. That's another, these different numbers, in numerology, whatever you want to call it, man, numbers are alive. So they study numbers, but numbers, they didn't discover number. You know what I'm saying? They didn't invent the number. They discovered the number. These numbers have always been there. They just discovered them. So numbers are alive. These letters are alive. We know. So the 1, again, is the 1. You know what I'm saying? All that represents the Creator. The 1, the 9. You know what I'm saying? The 1, 1, 1, 1s, or 1, 4, 4 is 9. You start to, comprehend that. So you have the 1 here. Let's put the H here. Last one will do. All right. Now that you put the H here, what do you got? You got 9. You can take that out. 1 plus 8 is 9. So the Hawa is the number 9. Hawa is the number 9 with an H. Hawa is the number 1. All right. 1 also represents the Creator. All right. So you have the 1. You have the 9. Again, you have Hey Ya. All right. And you see that Hey Ya. We're just looking at gematria. They say numbers don't lie, but you don't get the 9s, right? Similar to like, when it's not adding up, even in 440, you know what I'm saying? It's 8, but the nines is something to it. It's something to it, man. So, you dig on it. You put it together as you dig on it. We're just, going to continue to edify, man. Continue to be moving water. Hey, with the H. Again, it's 13. 1 plus 4 is 1 plus 3 is 4. So you're not getting the nines. You're not getting the ones. If you take off the ha and just put the ya, you're back to the number 13, which is 4. All right. And if you take off the ya and just put the wa, you're back to 9. Take off the 9, you got 9. So that's just the numbers, you know what I'm saying? You look into it as deep as you want to look into it, but I thought that was very, very intriguing. So when I take the H off, then I'm back to that 10 or that 1 with the wa. That's very interesting, right? Just like the ha, wa. Wow, it's very beautiful, man. And let's just, yeah, man, you dig on it, man. So however you flow, however you go, however you hawa, HWH, however you hawa, just be in the right frequency, man. Let's keep it going, man. Let me take the wheel high and let me get them, man. Let's finish out this particular last drop that we were doing with the, with the Paleo intro. Then we'll get into the intro of the Aleph. And just pay attention to how the story connects. Again, when you hear Mashiach, you connected to you. You connected to you as a nation. When you hear Mashiach, you connected to Moses. You connected to Joshua. You connected to Hashua, son of Nun, that led you literally into your promised land. Literally. We're talking about the Mashika, the Yuda, Hawauda migrations, Aztec migrations, Anasazi. Let's go. All right? Let's start to hijack, though. You already know.
Clear this up.
You already know.
My name happens.
The first thing he did in the first video, if you didn't get it, go back at the drop. He said, I'm a 21st century Christian. But he's also a Hebrew scholar and wears, fringes and all that. So it's interesting. Got to dodge the hijack. But we're going to surf the wave because we're just getting it started. This is just another, breadcrumb. We got a lot more to do, especially when it comes to the gematria. So let's go.
Happens to be Eric, and this is called Erictology. It's all about the letters. Why Eric? Okay, if we read the word spelled Ayin Resh Kaf, it's on page 486. Now, if you look at the chart that's out there on display, what we've done is saying nobody knows what these letters mean. Well, this is what they'll tell you. I'll give you the Frank Seekins version. And I'm not disparaging it. It's a starting place. Just to familiarize yourself, because you'll kind of see it on the chart, but I'll make it very easy. Aleph is an ox. Bet is a house. Gimel, camel, same word in English. Dalet, door. Hay is a window. Vav is a man or a nail. Zayin is a weapon. Het is a fence. Tet is a basket or a snake, that which coils around. Yod is a working hand. Kaf is an open hand. Lamed is a shepherd's staff. Mem is water. Nun is something alive like a fish.
Seed.
Samek is a prop. Ayin is an eyeball. Pei is a mouth. Zadi is a fish hook. Kuf means after this, it's the back of the head. Resh is like a head of a man. Sheen is teeth or fire. Tav is the sign of the covenant. Do you see a message in there? If you really had to, you could maybe pull together something. But by putting this into the organizational structure of this chart and trying to tell you these things, I'm trying to show you or give you an estimation of value. I'm trying to show you another way to see this language. This is not about me. I'm trying to simply point to Yahweh. I'm trying to show you something where you can look at these letters. It says in Jeremiah 31, concerning the new covenant, the Brit Hadashah, he says, no longer, there's coming a day, Kuf, off in the future, there's coming a day when I will seal with you a new covenant, not like the old one which you broke. Picture Moses taking these things written on stone and smashing them to the ground, and they say, well, we can't do it anyway. I'm going to outsmart you guys. I'm going to write it on your heart. The only way you're going to get this out of your heart is if you have a cardioectomy. The Aztecs used to do it to people. I wonder how many of them happened to be Hebrews that were...
Whoa. I wonder how many of these Aztecs are Hebrews. We just talked about the Mexica Aztec, Udal, Hawa, Udal, and he said the new covenant be written in your heart. So has that happened yet? So Jeremiah is being, you know what I'm saying, prophetic towards future, even though he keeps talking about a new covenant and New Testament and new Mashiach, Yeshua. But no, that's the old Yeshua. That's the old Hawashua. That's the old son of Nun. That's your Mashiach. That's the one that led you on your land, divided you into tribes. That's the one that sliced and diced the giants, the sons and daughters of Anak, the Nephilim, the fallen. Sliced angels to get you back into your covenant, back into your inheritance. And they gave you another Joshua with another covenant and another test. But look what he say about the Hawauda Azteca.
An estimation of value. I'm trying to show you another way to see this language. This is not about me. I'm trying to simply point to Yahweh. I'm trying to show you something where you can look at these letters. It says in Jeremiah 31, concerning the new covenant, the Brit Hadashah, he says, no longer, there's coming a day, Kuf, off in the future, there's coming a day when I will seal with you a new covenant, not like the old one which you broke. Picture Moses taking these things written on stone and smashing them to the ground, and they say, well, we can't do it anyway. I'm going to outsmart you guys. I'm going to write it on your heart. The only way you're going to get this out of your heart is if you have a cardioectomy.
Listen up.
The Aztecs used to do it to people. I wonder how many of them happen to be Hebrews.
I wonder how many of them happen to be Hebrews. Aztecs in America, copper color races found here. So-called Negroes, wake up, activate.
That were left in the New World after coming here. Cut your chest cavity open, rip the heart out, and, take a bite out of it and throw it out to the crowd. That's what the Aztecs and Mayans did. That's the only way you're going to get these words out of you. You're not going to break them. Ha-ha. I'm going to make it so you can't just break them. That's what Yahweh was saying to Israel. He says, no longer will every man need to say to his brother, oh, you should know Yahweh. And it's like, why? Hey, for they will all know me. How many people know Yahweh? How many people know Yahweh's day, his word, his Mashiach, and his letters? How many of us today in America, anywhere in the world, know Yahweh? He says, but they will all know me. Oh, that must mean that this hasn't been fulfilled yet, right? Do you really think the end of the world is coming in 2012 when, as of yet, even the one in Jeremiah hasn't happened because nobody knows Yahweh? He didn't say you won't know the Jesus Christ of the Christian gospel. He said they'll all know me. Who's me? He says, Yahweh. Who's Yahweh? We're not even supposed to speak his name, according to some Jewish teaching.
Wow. He's not speaking his name.
They'll all know me, from the least of these to the greatest. The least of who? Well, the commentary at the bottom of the Tanakh says, well, it's the children, the least of these, the uneducated ones, the peasants, the illiterate. From the least of these to the greatest, the rabbis, the great scholars, It's like, they'll all know me from the least of these to the greatest. Well, what does that mean? Well, because it's English, I got to play with it. What it says is, they will all know Oti. Well, Aleph, Vav, Tav, Yod, as we said earlier, literally means my oath. When he says they will all know me, speaking of Yahweh, he says the word is Oti means my oath. But the word oath also is letter of the alphabet. It's the oath described by the letters of the alphabet. They will all know me by my oath described by the letters of the alphabet coming from the least. Well, the word least is spelled kuf tet, which happens to be where we get the word cute, QT, cute. Small little cute little things. And then the word, the greatest of these, is the word ravim, is just to say ennobled. And my point about this is to say, when you think of these letters as Yahweh's face, Yahweh's words of blessing, and the key to the sports car, these things are pretty great.
All right, man. I mean, we gotta get it from them. You know what I mean? We gotta get the babies from them. They see their sports cars. I mean, that's all they can see. But he's holding up a book, man. I got it right here on my shelf. I ordered it actually after I saw this, man. Love again to my real one, man. Silas Nehemiah for putting me on this great wave, man. I've learned a lot, man, and love to Eric Bizzle, man, because he's doing his best, man. Everyone's doing their part. They're doing their best what the Most High has designed them to do. He keeps saying Yahweh, and we got go check out that Hawa, the breath. You know what I'm saying? Hawa, the feather, Yahweh. And even in the etymology, he's holding up an an etymological dictionary, you know what I'm saying, of the Hebrew language. And in this language, when he keeps saying Yahweh, 1869, that's when it got popular for them to say Yahweh. Hypothetical. Remember, they're talking about the future. They think that Y is putting them into, in the future. So therefore, Hawa's name is Hawa. Oh, but I'm talking about the future Hawa. When in the future, it's the ancient name. It's a vibration. Don't let them hijack you. I mean, you know the J's are hijack. Yahweh, see also the letter J. I mean, Hawa, come on. I didn't see this. I just looked down. Yahweh, also J. So what's the next step from this J? The Y. What's the relationship between a Y and a J? There's a hijack happening. There's a Yah happening. There's a Yahweh happening. Hypothetical reconstruction from YHWH. Then it says, assumption that the tetragrammaton is imperfective of the Hebrew verb Hawa. So he keeps saying Yahweh, but even in etymology, it's saying it is the imperfective of the Hebrew verb Hawa, which is the earlier form of Hey Yah. But before that Yah, when a baby comes out screaming Wah, Wah, we're talking the Wah, Hawa, Yahweh, no. The Hebrew verb Hawa, the primitive root verb H1961 in your Strong's Concordance. We're just talking the alphabet. The Ha, and the Wa, W-A-W, Wa. Tent, peg, secure. Add, what does it add to your life? What does it secure in your life? What is it hooked to? It hooks to the breath. It hooks into the dirt, the foundation. You're hooked in the dirt. We're hooked on this frequency. We're secure in our foundation. Wow. We're secure in our vibration. What has been revealed, what has been breathed. First you breathe. Wow. Then the frequency comes out. First you breathe. Wow, then you release the frequency, the security, the foundation, the breath. All praise the Most High for the breath. All praise the Most High for the security. Wow, it's not hey. That turned into their E. That's a different vibration. Dodge the hijack. It's not pronounced hey, it's ha. Even here it's ah, ha. Reveal aha, ha-wa, aha, ha-wa. Let's get it.
They're no longer cute little things that you just teach the children. He says they will all know my oath, my letters of the alphabet, and the letters of the alphabet will transform from being cute little things that you teach children, A, B, C, D, into these great migdalim, these towers of our defense, of our fortress, of our covenant restored.
Defense, fortress, covenant. Listen, my people. Listen, my people. Listen, my people. We're talking about the defense. This is your force field. This is your frequency. When you speak it, it is a defense. You're speaking your existence. You're speaking your covenant. You're speaking your Hawa. Existence, Hawa. Just got it, man. Where's that Yahweh? Bring that back, man. Bring that back, man. Bring it back. Bring it on the stack. Let go. We're speaking Wah. Hawa was in the sense of the one who is existing. We're not speaking Jah with that hijack J. Hebrew, short for Yah. We're not speaking Yah, because when we speak Yah, we're speaking, man, this is wordplay, people. We're speaking exclamation of defiance or dismissal from 1812, man. Now you got Yahoo, Yahoo, Yahoo. You know all they shit is demonic. Yahoo. Yahoo! They're screaming the exclamation of defiance. So we're in our frequency. We're in our frequency. This is your defense. This is your covenant. This is your breath, your security.
Lord, the word Abraham, our forefather, the word Abra has to do with opinion, lifting up like wings of an eagle. Yitzhak has to do with not just laughter, but gleaming, sparkling, bright, bam, like a fireworks going off. And Yaakov means he will leap up like Superman jumping over any obstacle. It means the same word for buzzard, which is way up high, or a high cliff, or something which is so high that nobody can reach you. Joseph literally means he will accumulate, or he will gather up. And so for us to sit there and say, wait a minute, we are of the lineage of one who can soar with wings of eagles, bright, gleaming, shining, and he will leap over any barrier. This is the covenant we were given, to fly, to soar over our obstacles. But we have inherited the curse, and we're being dominated by the world system of Daniel chapter 2, the statute.
We have inherited the curse, my so-called Negro. They can't see it through your eyes. They see it through, oh, well, I'm not like those other guys that look like me. I'm a different type of tribe, and that's them. I'm over here. Look at the curse on me. Is he cursed? Oh, he might say, oh, because I'm in a global system. He's looking at it in a global system. No, man. Did your people get hung upside down and mutilated and chopped up and eaten, and their gold was taken? Their conscience was taken. Their minds were taken. They're still being devoured, and they call them, oh, the ghettos. Nah, man, these are the Indians you found here, people. This is your Indian problem. That's why the Alabama governor said, oh, y'all got your own Indian problem in Alabama. He's talking about the Negroes. Indian problem, Negroes. ODB told you that.
The head of gold, arms of silver, midsection of bronze, legs of iron, which is Babylon, Media, Persia, Greece, and Rome, which has to do with the banking system, the dominating governmental system, the military system, the cultural system. And what came out of Rome? Christianity and Islam. Oh, hey, stomping the world with these two legs. And what about the feet of iron mixed with clay? Kind of sounds like democracy. Adam is red clay, and it doesn't mix well with these two religious systems, but yet it's tyrannizing the earth. He said in Daniel chapter 2, the vision given to Nebuchadnezzar, the head of gold, that an eben, a stone, an aleph bet nun, an aleph bet nooned, given propulsion, flying, hits the feet, it hits the regal. The word in Hebrew is regal, regal, the king's orders of regulations. Regular soldiers march and step. Customs, habits, and traditions as authorized by the king, the dominant system of the conglomerate system that came from Babylon, Media, Persia, Greece, and Rome, and now exhibited as this democracy. That system gets impacted in its regulations by the alphabet noon and knocks that statue down. It turns to dust, and it becomes a mountain which fills the entire world. And it says, will not yield its sovereignty to another. We're told that happens when Yeshua comes back at the rapture or the millennial kingdom. Maybe not. Maybe it happens when we start doing what he said, which is engaging noon, what Abba, Aleph Bet, said to do from the beginning, and it's the key to the sports car. We have no idea how fast this thing goes, where it goes, or how it can fly.
So-called Negro, he's talking to you. He thinks he's you. Get out of his head. Exit the mind of a hijack. And it's no disrespect, but even if you don't know you're hijacking us, you are. But we're getting the babies out. So you have a sports car. You are Israel. You are the seeds. You are Yahweh, Hawakwo, Hawako. You can leap over any bound by virtue of your inheritance. You don't know how fast and high you can fly, but you're about to find out when you choose up. Put this all into action now.
But I can tell you what's in between those inverted noons, and it'll blow your mind.
Let's go.
Now, the word for Eric. Now remember the chart, and I'm trying to show you a value of these things that were given no value. These things have been cute little things, and I'm trying to show you how they're ravim. The word Eric, ayin resh kaf. Remember the word ayin means to see and understand. Resh is the exaltedness, the lifted up head, and Kaf is the gift given to you by Yahweh. In the Torah, because the Kaf also means, as the Kaf and Lamed teach and learn these Torah instructions, which is the filter that you have to process when you come into the kingdom. Ayin Resh Kaf means set in order, arrange, assess, to estimate, to value, compared, prepared, kneaded like dough, organized, edited, arranged, attached importance to, order, row, estimate, valuation, entry in a dictionary, here's the dictionary, or a degree, which would be in grammar or mathematics. Everything this is about is doing Ayin Resh Kaf, which is why we're calling this Erictology. And the reason Erictology spelled with a K is because the Kaf is the equivalent of our letter K. It's just Hebrew. It has nothing to do with the word Eric, meaning my name. It just happens to be coincidental.
Sure.
So the point is, the more we learn about this stuff, we find these riddles all through it. And I can show you, we're running out of time for another break and probably the end of the night here, but I can show you where Yahweh said in Malachi. Let me go back up a little bit. The word Shem is not just this stuff, but the word Shema, Shin Mem Ayin. Shin Mem also means here and there. The letter Ayin means understanding. We just went through that. One of the Proverbs says, here is understanding. Where's understanding? Oh, he's now going to talk about in the book of Proverbs about understanding. It's a riddle. Shin Mem Ayin. Here is understanding. Shema. Here is wisdom. Shema. What does it mean? It means hear, believe, and do. How do you hear, believe, and do? How you hear, believe, and do is shomer. Shomer is watch, keep, and guard, what Adam was told to do in the garden. It's in Japanese where they get the word samurai. Same word, that's a whole other subject, but the point is samurai and shomer is the king's guard. We were given the job to shema and shomer, these words, as the king's guard. And if we do, we will inherit the heights of Jacob, of Yaakov. What the word Yaakov means, heights. What are the heights? To leap up or over our obstacles like Superman over anything they throw at us, because Yahweh will be our defense and our shield, our high tower and our strength that nobody compares to. We have just simply not been told this stuff. You go back to Exodus 20, and you go back to read all through until Exodus 30. Moses is up on the mountain, gets the 10 Commandments. He's about to come down, and Yahweh says, one more thing. One more thing. Tell Israel. Absolutely, they must keep the Sabbath day. And he goes on for about, I don't know, a dozen verses or something, over and over and over. They must keep the Sabbath day. They must keep the... It's kind of like your dad saying, you must keep oil in this car. Whatever you do, just keep oil in the car. I've blown up an engine before without keeping oil in it. You don't want to do that to the 350 Mustang GT, okay? Keep oil in the thing. Keeping the Sabbath day with any day, one day out of 7, doesn't matter. Yahweh said, if you don't keep this day, it's over, it's done. Might as well park it, and the dogs are going to, they don't know how to drive. The chimps, they don't even have any hands, half these animals, and yet...
Negro, you've tried everything. You've tried everything but shutting it down. You've tried everything but listening. The Most High calls us stubborn and stiff-necked because he's literally vibrate up. Vibrate above the barrier at least once a week. Can you do it? Nope. Timmy got basketball on Saturday. That's the only time he can play basketball. Sorry. Nope. Got a birthday party to go to. Sorry. Nope. I need to go to the club. Sorry. Come on, man. Vibrate up, man. This is your... You want that sports car, man? You want to fly? Most I kept reminding you, don't do it. Don't separate. Don't let go of the breath and your security.
They're going to come in and get your car if they don't know how to drive. And then here's another story that I found embedded in the scriptures. Yahweh said this, and I'm paraphrasing. He says, I'm going to let these other guys come in and use your stuff that I gave to you, but they don't know how to operate it. And when you wake up and get behind the wheel, you can have it back. And the whole world is waiting. The whole world is waiting for Israel to wake up.
Wow.
And come back home and get behind the wheel and drive this thing like it's supposed to be driven. And the whole world will benefit because every one of the various powers that sits behind the wheel and trying to drive that thing is driving it off the cliff and running it into the bridge and into the lake and don't even know how to turn the key on because none of them are doing what Yahweh said to do.
Wake up, Hawa.
Nobody can operate this thing except for Israel. Now, Israel has the right to show everybody else how to operate, and most of the people that figure stuff out are going, hey, I'm going to keep this for me. And he said, hey, be like the 3 lepers who sit there and say, look, we're going to die in this place. Let's just go out and they found the army that was surrounding them, that was sieging the city, gone and having left all the stuff. And they said, if we keep this for ourselves, the sin will be upon us. We better go back and tell everybody. And there was a stampede to go out and get the provisions. The provisions that Yahweh has given to our enemies that they've been sieging us with are ours for the taking because it's the end of the 2,730-year curse, and Yahweh said we could have it back if we come back to the covenant.
See, it's the end of the 2,000 what curse? Uh-huh. Say they be playing with these numbers, man. Playing with these numbers.
Nobody can operate this thing except for Israel. Now, Israel has the right to show everybody else how to operate. And most of the people that figure stuff out are going, hey, I'm going to keep this for me. And he said, hey, be like the 3 lepers who sit there and say, look, we're going to die in this place. Let's just go out and they found the army that was surrounding them, that was sieging the city, gone and having left all the stuff. And they said, if we keep this for ourselves, the sin will be upon us. We better go back and tell everybody. And there was a stampede to go out and get the provisions. The provisions that Yahweh has given to our enemies that they've been sieging us with are ours for the taking because it's the end of the 2,730-year curse, and Yahweh said we could have it back if we come back to the covenant.
So he's going off the book of Daniel, you know what I'm saying, adding up the times and all that. Either way, we know we are in redemption season.
If we come back to his stuff.
Come on. Come on. All right, man. All right. So let's just get to this 11th, man. I just want to get a little bit of that tail end that we missed last time. We're going right into the 11th. And everything's a story, y'all. Everything's a story, y'all. Let's go.
Speak up the language of the Hebrew man. Loud and clear. The language of the Hebrew man.
Notice how you got that reggae, because you know who he talking to.
Almighty, the Amsus, the one that created everything, who sets himself apart. You'll understand this as
it's belly flop, man. It's belly
read the
flop,
Bible.
Man.
We could actually look at the letters, and we don't have to get somebody.
Belly flop, man.
The subject of how to describe the Aleph. So we're going to try to do it in 2, which is to say, it's still going to be a bit of an overview, but we're going to do 2 hours per letter, 2 hours per week for the next 22 weeks. But there's so much more that could be done. So again, I'm trying to give you a feel, a sense of how this language works. So I'm going to, because the Aleph is the first letter, it's the, you might say, the overview, the plan. So everything that I describe about the alphabet is actually describing the Aleph, because the Aleph is the plan. So the chart that's back there, the way that chart works is we described on a 4-hour DVD that we did a couple months ago, is that if you look at everything down in the white column, because here's the way it's coded, you might say. In white light, all the other colors of the spectrum are in the white light. And when you put a prism and shine the white light through the prism, it refracts into all the different colors. So Aleph and Tav is drawn as white. You know, the white shirt. So with it, hopefully I can wear different colored shirts at these meetings, so if somebody's flipping through, they'll say, oh, he must be on one of those letters because it's keyed to those colors. But the point is, Aleph is in the white, and if you look at everything in the right-hand column all the way down in the white column, you'll get Aleph concepts. Aleph concepts, not to go through the whole chart with you because it's on the chart, are things like strategy and concept and theory. I'm going to describe a couple other things that we got going on here too, just for the record. The thing that I referred to as the chart is that 2 foot by 4 foot. It's made that big enough so you could put it on a door, on the back of a closet. Here, Jamie's bringing it up here just for people who don't have access to this. We made it this size so you can put it in the back of a closet door or something. You don't always have to look at it. You open it up, there it is, and it's not taking up too much wall space. But so here, if you're going to read the Aleph,
All right.
if you read,
I just, most I said pull it up, so we pull it up, man. So I know it's going to be hard to read that, so I just wanted to kind of get this up. I'll leave the link. I have not looked at this. This looked like some drop, though. For real, though. Man. All right, so you got the Aleph, which this chart calls in the Picto, the Paleo, originally the L, then the A. All right. We're digging on it. You got the bed, the family, the Gemo, the foot, the Dalet, the tent door, the Ha. Arms of raised, man raised, look, revealed, breath side. So I'll leave this link, man. I'll let them keep digging on it. I don't know if these are the exact, you know what I'm saying? Cause I know he has the actual chart that kind of lines up where he's putting this. So this is not, I don't think what he's talking about, but this is another chart that we can definitely dig on. And I'll keep looking, man. If y'all got the chart, man, y'all hit me up, man. Cause I don't think, oh, maybe this is it. Maybe this is it. Bang! We got the chart, man. Whoa! Woohoo! Oh, wow. I didn't expect that. But I should. Oh, wow. I should. Now we got the chart. So he's on the left. He's on the white. He's on the white. Scroll all the way over here. Here's the towel. That's all he says. So the left's on the white and the towel's on the white. And man, yeah, so we can break down this chart now. Oh boy, something tells me this is going to be a, something tells me this is the Mishkan pattern right there in the middle that he's talking about. Oh, my bad, my busy. All right, the Mishkan pattern. Oh man, oh, look at all this great, man. Y'all got the link, because I got the link, you know what I'm saying? My link is your link, man. Let me make sure I bookmark this. Eric Tylogy. All right. Chart. Why not? Okay. Bookmark these charts, man. Hebrew chart 2. All right. Yeah, man. Let's go.
and everything in this white column all the way down, you'll get a sense of everything the Aleph means. And to take a few things at random, wealth, omnipotent, eternal, other side of the creation event, which is to say, well, what does that mean? If creation of physical matter is in the position of the bet, then what's before the creation, which is the other side of the creation, is the idea of what are you going to do? How are you going to make it? So that's the other side of the creation event, which is the Aleph side. So reading on down, you have silent author, but also expression. But how can you have a silent author, but also an expression? The Aleph is the one letter which is silent. Now, if you read modern Hebrew, you'll see that underneath the Aleph, there's either lines or dots, which the Masoretic scribes around 1200 AD or so went through the entire Tanakh. Let me back up. The Tanakh is an acronym for the Old Testament. It stands for T, the letter Torah, which is the first 5 books, Neva and Nevaim, which is the prophets, and Keterim, which is the writings. So TNK, Tanakh. That's where that comes from. The Old Testament, according to the Jewish scriptures, the Masoretic scribes are the ones that put these vowel points. Before that, there was no vowel points. Hence, in Paleo, there's no vowel points. You can say, well, I don't know how to pronounce it, because they're basically all consonants. Well, the Yod basically sounds like an I or a Y. The Vav can sound like an O or a U or a W, but pretty much everything just has kind of an A sound, ah. And if you don't know how...
So what they're telling you is that because there's no Masoretic, they're pretty much guessing, you know what I'm saying, with certain things when they don't know the pure language. He's breaking it down in a very interesting way with a lot of research that we can add, just like the Horace Butler, you know what I mean? There's a lot of recon. Love to Horace Butler. Love to Eric Bizzle. Because we're going to get something out of this, man.
How to read, and you just sound out the consonants with kind of an ah or an eh, you'll be really close. The point is, the aleph is silent, and it's the one letter which is silent. So what could possibly be meant by that? Well, the thing about the Hebrew language here, what I found is that the letters mean things. And so who is the creator? Where did he show us? Where did he ever express himself and reveal himself? Well, we can say, well, the scriptures tell us he first showed us in the creation. Well, the silent aleph then is expressed in the bet, because the bet is a creation, but the yod is the working hand. So you could say the silent aleph is expressing itself through the hand of what was created. So it's also expressed in the yod. Well, here's my point. The aleph expresses itself in all of the other 21 letters. So if you know what the 21 other letters mean, you will hear the sound of the silent aleph. These are concepts, these are pictures. And if you understand these pictures, then you might say, well, every time you see the letter aleph in a word, you could read, oh, that has something to do with the plan on the other side of the creation event. Now you can say, well, how do I know that? Am I just making this up? I've got a bunch of scriptures that I hopefully will get to reading to you to prove the point, to prove the case. However, I've been told by some that this is all bogus information. I'm just some raving lunatic. It's idiocy. It's not true. Just so you know. Those that are literate scholars of Hebrew may well completely disagree with everything on this chart and everything I'm about to say. There's a verse in the scriptures. Now, rendering Daniel 12:4, where he says, hide the words and seal the book until the time of the end. That's this last line down here. That's another subject which we won't get to tonight, but just so you know it's there. Hide the words and seal the book. Well, that means something is stopped up, closed up, that you cannot get access to. And to hide, well, if you look at what that word really means in the way it's written, it means to obfuscate, which is to say make unclear, make obscure, make ambiguous, to make so general that it's non-specific. Well, now that doesn't mean that every word you read is non-specific. That just means that it was made non-specific by something Daniel was told to do. And if Daniel, this is all hypothetical, if Daniel was the guy who changed the lettering style from the Paleo to the modern, which I maintain that he did, by the proof of the evidence, not that...
And I like that way. That's what I mean by getting the babies out. You know, did Daniel... Now, when did Daniel rock? Was this in the BCs, or was this as recent as the 12th century? Was this as recent as the 1100s, man? What time are we in? What's really going on? And did this lettering style get switched over to this modern Chaldean flame thing to seal the book? That was the sealing of the book, so they cannot get back in the pure flow, which is what you are revealing. What's being revealed right now before your eyes. So wow.
That I can point to any real proof that Daniel did this, but it's kind of like detective work, looking for the smoking gun and who had probable cause and that whole thing. Just so you know. Anyway, because Daniel was told to seal the book, I was looking for other words in the scriptures with the word seal. There's a verse, I believe it's in Isaiah, but I'm not sure. If I took the time to find every little verse that I'm going to mention and tell it to you and read it to you, we're going to burn through all kinds of time. I do have things written down, but I'm going off the top of my head, just so you know. So forgive me if I'm erroneous on a couple little facts. But the point is, the verse says, take the sealed book, Sefer is the word book, take the sealed Sefer, and give it to a literate one and say, read this, please. And the literate one says, I can't read it, it's sealed. Then take the sealed book and give it to an illiterate one. And the illiterate one says, I can't read it, I'm illiterate. Now that's the way it's translated in English. But if you look at the way what the illiterate one said, if you're illiterate, like I was illiterate up until recently, you might say, I don't know how to read Hebrew, so I don't know what this illiterate man says. I have to trust the English translation. But so I'm kind of playing with a riddle here. There's a riddle. What did the illiterate man say? If you're illiterate, you don't know what he said. But what he really said was the letters Lamed Aleph, Lo, Yod Dalet, Ayin, Tav Yod, Ida T, Sefer, Samik Pei Resh. It's like, I don't read. Those letters mean nothing to you. I mean, I could point these letters out and they don't mean anything to you. But if you know how to recognize the pictures that the letters describe, I'll see if I can, I'll do it here.
It's all about recognizing the picture that's going to activate you, and you're going to put it together.
Lamed, if you read down what the Lamed means, you'll see it's a shepherd's staff, and basically it's an authority. And then the Aleph is to set something in motion. It's the first letter, it's the master, it's the concept. So it's like, okay, the authority, 12 is the letter Lamed, so it's like a government. The authority that like sets this whole thing in motion is kind of like a bowler. You know, he has the pins down there, and he's on the court, and he takes that bowling ball, and he determines the aim, and he determines the speed and the force. That's Lamed Aleph. You say, wait a minute, the word Lamed Aleph translated literally means no. So how does that mean the guy that set everything in motion, Lamed Aleph? Maybe this is bad rendering. You say, well, the parent of the family, the father, is the one who set everything in motion. He's the guy with the authority to say no. This is my place. I say no. So see, there's this connection. Can you see that connection? So some of this work is making those kind of connections and inferences. So the word sefer, which is the last word of the sentence, literally means book. In this chart, it's translated right here out of the dictionary. The word sefer means count, number, tell, narrate, to cut, which is to shape, which is to say cut hair. So a barber is called a sefer or sephora. It means to a census, a border, a frontier. And a border or frontier, like the border of your property, you'll set fence posts. And then you'll string wire between them. And you say, okay, that designates my property. Well, Abraham was told to sefer the stars. And so we think, oh, well, he was told, it's translated count. Abraham was told to count the stars. Nobody can count the stars. But he could sefer the stars. Sefer is the word count. It's also the word connect the dots and string things together until you form a story, a narration, a picture. Abraham certainly could narrate and tell a story with pictures. I think Abraham designed the constellations. That's a whole other story, but the oldest...
He said, I think Abraham designed the constellations. All right, man. Surf the way.
known constellations in Dendera, Egypt, in the ceiling of this planetarium, you might say, is about 2,000...
The ceiling of this planetarium? Whoa, you don't believe that if you think you're spinning on a ball, that there's a ceiling. What's your ceiling on a ball? What's the ceiling on a ball? Oh, gravity. So he's letting you know that there is a firmament, that there is a barrier, and that is your ceiling. It's spinning around you. It's encompassing you. It's doing a circuit involving you being the center of it, the apple, the center of your creator's eye, man. The planetarium. Did Abraham design the planetarium? Did he design? Did he design the constellation? That's interesting. I never heard that before. So, hey, I wasn't there. Let's go.
BC. That's when Abraham lived. The language was changed from the Paleo to modern about 500 BC. That's when Daniel lived. So I'm making these connections and saying, wow, what if that was the guy that did it? Abraham was told to sever the stars. Daniel was told to hide the book. Anyway, Lo, Idati, Yod, if you read all that, it's the hand that works. Dalet is a door. Ayin is understanding. Tav is the covenant. And then Yod again. Yod at the end of the word basically means my. It's the hand of the author. The author wrote it and then signed it and claimed it as his own. You should say, my hand, or the author, the creator's hand, who? Who's my? The guy of the Lamed Aleph, the one who set this whole thing in motion, the designer. My hand is on the door to understanding my covenant. And what's that? Sefer, Samik Pei Resh. What does that mean? Connect the dots. Well, the Samik is drawn like the mast of a ship, which is rigged with ropes. It's also in the position of what lines up to be the menorah. It's an engineered structure. It's like the guy on the watchtower, which is to say like a trellis, like a watchtower, like a railroad bridge, you might say, is engineered to take load. And it's like something is engineered. Well, it's also engineered, which is to say planned with forces and weights. It's in the day of putting the sun, moon, and stars in the sky, which are principalities. In the book of Revelation, you say, well, wait a minute, Yeshua was seen by the Apostle John having 7 stars, which are the spirits of the 7 candlesticks or the 7 assemblies. And you see what I'm doing? I'm saying a word and jumping to another concept related to the word, which reminds me of another verse with the same concept, which is related to that, which reminds me of this other word, which jumps to this other letter. I'm calling that sephering, connecting the dots. Mm-hmm. It reminds me of a game, I don't know if anybody's aware of it, called Crazy Eights, we used to play as a kid. Now, from what I remember, you have a deck of cards, and you can jump through the deck as one person lays down the next card, depending on either suits or numbers. If someone lays down a 4 of diamonds, you can lay down any diamond or any 4. And if you want to change, you throw down an 8, and then you can change it to anything you want, Crazy Eights. But the point is it fair if you throw down a 4 of diamonds to jump down to a 9 of diamonds or a king of diamonds? Yeah, they're diamonds. It's the same type of thing. So as we go through the language, what I found is that this is the way the Hebrew language is constructed. This is the Aleph. This is part of the concept of the Aleph. This is the way that Yahweh designed this plan, this purpose. If you read through the Aleph, you'll see there's a plan and there's a purpose. So I can render a bunch of verses that show you Aleph means a plan. There's one verse that says, Yahweh speaking, as I have planned, so shall it be. As I have purposed, so shall it come about. I have a whole list of verses here, which we can run through, where Yahweh essentially uses this as his signature. He says, the thing that I said was going to happen will certainly happen. Heaven and earth will not pass away until every single dot of what I said happens. Not one jot or tittle will fail to occur before what I said is going to happen, and then this is over. The concept of the plan and the purpose is the Aleph concept. The accomplishment of the Aleph is the Tav concept. So if you read through here Tav, and that's the other reason why the letter Tav is in white, because it's the same as the Aleph. It's the fullness of the Aleph that was broken up into all its variable pieces, the different colors, accumulated back, gathered back up. I'm going to do a little bit of suffering here. The Tav is that when the Aleph, which was separated, gathers back up. It's interesting to see that if you look in the Red Dictionary, you will not find the word Joseph. It's actually spelled Yod Vav Samik Pei, but it's pronounced Yosef. It's not in the dictionary. But I saw, as I was reading through the Tanakh, various places, that there are words spelled Yod Vav Samik Pei. Well, that's the word Yosef. But it's not translated in the dictionary as Joseph. So you'll find this in Strong's, Concordance, and other places, where it's like, I know that's Joseph's name, but it's being used as a word, but I don't know what the word means, because Strong's won't tell me, and I can't find a dictionary to tell me what Joseph's name means. It's like, so there's all these different places, like the campsites in different cities, which have words, which we just say, oh, that's the name of the place. It's like, but I know there's a message in there. There's something underneath the phonetic word, but what is it? What I've found is that this is the mechanism to find out. Well, to cut to the chase with Yosef, it means he will accumulate. He will gather. As a matter of fact, here, where it talks about Ben Yosef, I wrote it down here, right here, son of Yosef. The word Yosef literally means inquire, goblet, threshold, mediator, broker of food, and he will accumulate. Well, that's exactly what Yosef ended up doing, only they called him Zaphnath Paneach, which means the one who can decipher the mysteries and the secrets of the Almighty. And it's like, well, how do you get that? Well, the dictionary tells you about how to break the name down. But what I'm showing you is that we can go through the dictionary word by word, letter by letter, 2-letter groups by 2-letter groups, 3-letter groups. That's a whole other study. I'm trying to show you the way it's all put together. You won't find Yosef. You'll have to sit there and say, Yosef, Yod Vav Samik Pei. What does Samik Pei mean? What is a Samik? That's like the menorah. What's a Pei? That's like the mouth, the altar of incense. What does a menorah and an altar of incense have to do with Yosef, which is the hand of work, Yod, and a Vav, which is the man or the hook or the nail or the bridge? That's a whole other study. But what I'm telling you is that's the mechanism. So if I say he will accumulate, because that's Yosef, he will accumulate. But a tav is the accumulation of all the letters being fulfilled. There's a connection, like the crazy eights. You could say, they're both talking about accumulating. So what's being happened? You could say, well, here, these are the stripes of colors. Joseph's coat was long stripes of different colors. Joseph represented Ephraim, and he was the father of Ephraim and Menasseh. Yaakov, when he was blessing him, said, these are like my sons. Hence, instead of just 12 tribes, there was now 13 tribes, because Ephraim and Manasseh were each a tribe. And Joseph, their father, was only one, right? Now there's 13 tribes. And you could say, well, at least 10 of them got dispersed, maybe 11 of them. We know where Yehuda is, because everybody that comes back to the Torah is called under the blanket of Yehuda. But where's all these other tribes? To accumulate.
You see how they just throw that, oh, you know who Yehuda is, because everyone that comes to the covenant is Yehuda. You know what I mean? Come on, man. Where is Yudah? Where is Hawaudah? Where are the copper color races found here?
All the other tribes and bring them back is essentially Joseph's job to accomplish Tav, the plan, Aleph. You see that little suffering going on there, connecting the dots? So what I'm going to propose to show you here tonight is that it's one thing to recognize the Aleph and go, oh, that's talking about the plan. Or that's talking about the purpose. Or that's talking about, on the other side of the creation event, what the Creator decided to do. And so every time you read the letter Aleph in a word, you say, oh, that's talking about the plan. Or that's talking about the character attributes of the Aleph, which is the strong master. But it's another thing to say, I know what the plan is. Well, now you say, well, how do you know what the plan is? And you can't rely on the doctrines we've inherited. You can't rely on Christian doctrine or rabbinical doctrine. You have to say, what did he say the plan was? And so part of the mystery of the Aleph is, the Aleph is like the white light which contains all the other letters. And the intriguing thing about this Hebrew alphabet is that the plan, the mystery of the plan, is described in all the other letters of the Hebrew alphabet, if you know what they mean. So the plan is wrapped up in the Aleph, which says this is the plan. But you have to know that the Almighty had a plan from before he made the creation, and the plan included plan A and plan B, maybe 22 plans, but the point is, for example, in the book of Esther, I'm going to now suffer that connection. In the book of Esther, the Jews were about to be ruined, destroyed, annihilated, and Mordecai, Esther's uncle, says, you can say something to Ahasuerus. You can say something to alleviate this trouble that's coming upon your people. And she says, gosh, he hasn't called for me in a month, and I could lose my head if I go in there. He says, if this happens, you're going to lose your head anyway, and you might be the savior of your people. And if you don't do it, Yahweh's got plan B. He's got some other person that he will use to remedy his people, but this could be you. And so the question is, it's like, that infers a plan B. If we assume that Yahweh's got all kinds of plans, the question is, are we going to play into the plan that he has for us? Or are we going to wait and say, well, let me see what the next plan is, and something will happen, you go say, it had nothing to do with me. It's like, whoa, what? We might have been able to be involved in the plan if we would step up to the plate and say, how do we participate? You have to know that he's got a plan. It's not just a random series of events that's going on. So the point is, if you look at the Aleph and say, what is his plan? Plan B, you might say, was, here's the presentation. Blessing or the curse. Do what I say, get blessed. Don't do what I say, get cursed. So Israel took the curse. And all through the scriptures, you'll find that Yahweh says, that wasn't what I wanted. That wasn't my plan, but there's a contingency plan for if that's the one you take. And I believe where we're at now, based on the 2007 30-year curse being over as of 2010, according to the calculations that we talked about last time,
Well, the curse is over in 2010, according to this 2070 years he's getting on. Were they over when the Mayans said December 21st, 2012? Were the Mayans more accurate? Did we start coming to life around, what, 2013, 14, 15? Here we go, here we come. Let go.
We can come back to the plan. And if we come back to the plan, I believe we have the blessing available. So how do we come back to the plan? Well, we have to reaccumulate Yosef, the lost tribes, and the lost preferences and desires of Yahweh. Because he says, you come back to me and I'll come back to you. You come back and regard the things I said, and then I will implement the things I said. And you say, well, what did he say? There's a bunch of other stuff here I can go into details. But basically, this is what he said. You can say, well, I don't know how to read this. And it's like, if you just read all these words, you'll get a feeling for what he said every time he mentioned an aleph. Same with bet, gimel, so forth and so on. So even though you don't necessarily know what to do with these words, if you just read these colored lines all the way down, you'll start to get a feeling for what each letter is about. Because the letter, you have to realize, is not just a definition. This is what the letter means. Like, bet means body, or bet means house. Well, house is something you go into. A body is something you inhabit. So is your car. Well, your car is kind of like a bet. Well, is a house a bet or a car a bet? They both are bets. But it also, bet not only means in, it means into. It also means on. Well, you ride on a horse, so a horse could be a bet. You're riding on the horse, but a horse is like a camel, which is a gimel, is something that moves. So is it a bet or a gimel? And it can get really confusing. But it's not a matter of saying, which one is it? It's a matter of, do you see the pictures that are the plan that Yahweh incorporated into the construction or the manifestation of the aleph through the concepts of betness, gimelness. See, bet is to incorporate into substance. So you could say, I have an idea, but I'm not going to tell anybody. It's going to be silent, and it's going to exist in the ethereal place in my own mind. Well, that's aleph. Well, let's see it. That would be bet. To put it into substance and form and present it, it's now outside of me. So aleph is one. Aleph is like the word echad, where everything, for the Almighty to say, I'm going to do another project outside of myself. I'm going to make this bet, which is separated from me. Once it's separated from the echad of one, bet has the choice now to remove itself, to separate, be disassociated, and be antagonistic to aleph. So that as soon as the aleph 1 makes an other bet 2, you have to, the next most logical thing to say is, what's the connection between them? Well, that's described by the gimel. The gimel has to do with the connection between, it has to do with back and forth. You might say you have the mother is aleph, who then has a embryo, a baby inside of her, and the connection between them would be the umbilical cord. Thanks. The word escaped me. So Gimel, you could say, is like an umbilical cord. Gimel's also like Yaakov's ladder between heaven and earth that he had the vision of. And it's like, wow. You could say, well, Gimel's also the sent one, which would be the one with a foot, the voyager, the ambassador, the one sent here, which we see as being, well, that's Yeshua, the sent one.
Son of Noon.
Oh, well, thank you for your patience there.
Moshe. You.
Sorry. Anyway, the point is we could go through each one of the letters of the alphabet, which I'm not... Oh, there it is on the big screen. I'm not trying to go through each one of these letters because that's its own study. I'm just trying to show you that this is the concept embedded in the aleph. Just to make a few things clear, I'll pause here before I get on to the next step. But I want to, just for the people that are watching, and there's a couple other things we did here to make this also clear. This chart here, Yeshua, the Messiah, and the alphabet, which was on the screen earlier, and also Bill Sanford has done this entire PowerPoint showing Yeshua in the alphabet. We'll get to that under the letter Vav, because I believe that's where he was hidden. But just so you know what this is. So if you render each one of these letters, like for example, Aleph, the Almighty, Infinite One, came from heaven to earth to be finite and visible. Well, that's actually Aleph becoming Bet. The Word became flesh. He is our strength. So you can say, now what has that got to do with Aleph? How do I know Aleph is all that stuff? Because
all right, here comes Jesus. That train's never late. But now, imagine you, because we're going to see the same story, and you're going to see the nation, the totality, the gathering. If the Tau, the original cross, you see how they're going to put Jesus on the cross. But the Tau is the gathering, is the sign of you, not Jesus, not Yeshua. You can look at it as the sign of your original redemption, going to your original promised land, your original Exodus. But the Most High says that the Exodus that's coming up, you ain't even going to remember the last one, because the one that's coming up is going to be so amazing. And it's a sign of the Exodus coming up. It's a sign of the gathering coming up. When he puts Jesus in, think of you as a whole, as a nation that was crucified. This cross is a sign of your crucifixion, your redemption, your gathering. Let's get a couple more minutes. And again, train yourself. Every time you hear Jesus, think about the totality, the gathering together. Israel, how Israel.
Aleph finds its most immediate expression in the letter next to it, Bet. But also the way you can read this Aleph Bet is like this, you might say like a tank tread, where it's not the letter just in front of it, but also the letter behind it. Well, there is no letter behind it, it's the Aleph. But if it's like a tank tread, the Tav is before the Aleph, or in back of it. So when you start reading these words, if you think of not just the letter, but the letter in front of it, the letter behind it, it gives you a reference for that letter. And I'm just telling you different mechanisms. Each one of these, you could sit there and personally take the time to say, okay, I'm going to open up the dictionary and read every word that starts with Aleph. And it's like, that's a lot of stuff. And then you can say, and I've done this with the things I'm telling you to do, the things I've done. Take every letter of the alphabet and then add an Aleph to it. So you have Bet Aleph, Gimel Aleph, Dalet Aleph, Hey Aleph, Vav Aleph, and see what effect adding an Aleph to the word makes. And then you could take the two-letter combinations, like Bet Gimel Aleph, Bet Gimel Bet, Bet Gimel Dalet. You start adding letters, and so you start noticing by use how these letters affect the words. And this is the great thing about this dictionary, is that I haven't seen any other dictionary where you can do this. But it takes many hours of time. But if you do that, it all becomes these personal insights of saying, wait a minute, if you take these two letters and you just read like every word that starts with Pei Lamed, is where we get Pei is the same letter as Fe, F, or PH is the same letter as P. So you'll get plaza, plutocrat, plebeian is the translated English words. It's like, what do those got to do with each other? Then you've got flower and fluorescence. What does that got to do with each other? Well, if you sit there, I think there's like 5 pages in the dictionary starting with Pei Lamed, or FL or PL words. Well, for example, a plutocrat is somebody very wealthy. A plebeian is the masses of the poor. What's the association? Like fields, there's an FL, field, right? Plaza, the spread out place. So things that are spread out start with Pei Lamed. Happens to be where Paleo is also, and Pele, which is wonderful and marvelous, is also, it's like, whew. You start developing these concepts. Well, the interesting thing is, because Aleph is the plan that everything else is in, and because Abba, starting with the Aleph, said, I'm going to determine. Now, Jamie mentioned the word Ein Sof. Sof, that's the Psalmic Pei again, only there's a Vav in the middle, Psalmic Vav Pei. What does that mean? Well, Yosef, Psalmic Pei, means to accumulate, but Sof has to do with a limit, which is to say a limit of what is accumulated. So many of the words have both a positive meaning and the exact opposite meaning. And literally, you can look at the words in the dictionary and you'll find a certain word that means, like, to run and be agile is the exact same word as to be lame and crippled. And it's like, well, how do you know how to translate it? That's one of the problems with reading English, is because what we have is somebody's interpretation of what they thought was the best way to interpret it. And you can say, well, it's based on tradition. I've spent hundreds and hundreds of hours literally translating verses where I'm not trying to say, well, which of the two ways should it be translated? Is it the positive or the negative? Is it that you can run with agility, or is it that you're crippled and lame? It's probably both. And it's probably an expression of the blessing or the curse. For an example, here's another thing to say. Okay, one of the 10 Commandments is, thou shalt not steal. Okay, so Yahweh comes along and says, I'm going to be your Elohim. That's the plan. That's the Aleph. As a matter of fact, if you read down here, you'll see where it says, in the Aleph position, this is me. In the Bet position, it says, and this is you. So anytime you have a contract, it's between at least two parties. This is me. You have to identify yourself. That's the Aleph position. And this is B. That's Bet. That's the Aleph engaging the other. This is you. So when you see something that says, I am Yahweh, you are Israel, you're my Bet, then it's like, oh, that's the Aleph and the Bet. And then he'll say something about the connection between the two, which would be the Gimel. And so if you look down here under Exodus 20, where he talks about the 10 Commandments, you'll find it fits that pattern. Well, anyway, I'm jumping all over the place here. I'm trying to give you these overview concepts. Let me go back to the what the illiterate man said. Lo yirati sefer. If you don't know how to read, and all you can do is look at pictures, the one who started this place, set the thing in motion, says, my hand is on the door to provide understanding of my covenant, and it's Samic Pei Resh. Samic, like this menorah, Pei, the mouth, or the words, or the explanation, and Resh, the exalted man. So you could say, if someone wants to be an exalted man, he will, like a Samic, like an engineered structure, regard my words. That's what we're doing here. We're trying to fit it together like an engineered structure of connecting the dots. You could say, well, which exalted man? Well, Yeshua is the exalted man.
Exalted by who? Remember, Christ is a Greek word, anointed of the Greeks. Meshiach is anointed of the Hebrews. Those are two different people being anointed. They came to you with Christos and their papal bulls. Dumb Diversas 1452, subjugate the enemies of our Christos, of that which we are anointing as Greeks, and bringing to these Hebrews with a Hebrew interpreter and saying convert or die or mutilate these people. Take the resources in the name of this Savior of the Greeks, anointed of the Greeks, not Yeshua, Jesus. Hebrews had their own person that was sent for them. None of our prophets ever came outside of our house. No prophets of Israel were non-Israelites. So don't come to us with a Greek hijack on a land that is new to you, with our commandments here in stone, going back, 3,000 years? All right, man, let's pause up right here. We're halfway through it. We'll get the rest of that. I wanted to get to this drop with the CJ Battle, put it all together. I'm talking about the indigenous copper color race found here as land. Let's get on this Wisconsin drop. Love to get into the root. Love to hire Mark, man. My Wisconsin familiar, Milwaukee familiar. My sister, Miss D in the copper color awakening. Love to the young king. Love to Taboo Coco. Let's get this, man. CJ. All right, man. Let's dig on there. He wants us to dig. This is the Aztlan State Park National History Landmark. Aztlan, Azteca. Let's check out these migrations. What's popping? This is your land, my people.
Over 900 years ago, a group traveled up the Crawfish River in south-central Wisconsin in search of a new home. A place to raise their families and grow corn. Perhaps a place to expand or protect trade relations. A place to build a great walled town. Who were these people? Where did they come from? And why did they settle in this place we now call Aztlan? Over 1,000 years ago, a strong, complex society of Native Americans spread throughout eastern North America to the Gulf of Mexico. This civilization, known today as Mississippians, formed a society around religious beliefs which were reflected in their architecture. Some important buildings built on platform mounds are interpreted as temples or religious structures. The Mississippians built their civilization around farming.
They practiced maize agriculture, and not just maize, but also beans and squash. They lived in villages with sturdy houses and practiced a way of life with a hierarchical kind of organization.
Mississippians, they're on the Mississippi Mounds. They're on the mounds at LSU, Louisiana. We're connecting all of these mounds everywhere. They call them mounds here, but there are also pyramids or cut down trees. We're talking about a lot of time. We're talking about a lot of time that we've been here. A lot of time we've been connected to this soil. A lot of time we've been indigenous, and we've had to reconquer and recover our lands, and that's who Hawashua, son of Nun, did. That's who he is when he led you into the Udal, into the Hawahuda, into the Mexica Yucatan. Migration, migration, migration.
The center of this society was located in southern Illinois, near the present city of St. Louis. This spectacular city is now called Cahokia. Some archaeologists believe that between 1050 and 1100 AD, a group of Mississippians traveled north from Cahokia, up the Rock River to the Crawfish River, and founded the town now called Aztlan.
The variety of vessel forms that are found, the particular kinds of pottery, is to argue that it's a direct relationship to the Cahokia site itself.
At Aztlan, the Mississippians lived with the late woodland people, perhaps as allies and trading partners. They transformed the village into a Mississippian-style town. Great walls of timber and clay enclosed the town, while interior walls subdivided the village of perhaps 500 people. Besides a central plaza, 3 platform mounds were built as bases for important buildings: a temple to keep the sacred fire burning, a mausoleum for the deceased members of the elite, and the largest mound for the probable residence of the ruling family.
Now remember the Azteca, Mexica, Mexico, and of course the Udal, 4 corners, all right? So when you hear Aztlan and Azteca, we're talking about the people of righteousness, the people of whiteness, of purity. We're talking a vibration of purity, not just a word. They didn't call themselves Aztecs, right? We're talking about a vibration of what that word means, of what they were actually called on. Hawa, a purity. And you're seeing a connection between all of these places of purity. Let's go.
It is a complex site, and this is what I find most interesting about the site, is how people who built Aztlan changed the way the land looked to make it into something that looked right for them. They built those platform mounds to raise themselves up. They built this fence all the way around, and they didn't just do that, then they built interior fences as well.
Decades of archaeological research revealed
You've been building, Negro. When have you stopped?
much about the history of this town and the lives of its people. The first and most extensive excavation occurred in 1919. Samuel Barrett of the Milwaukee Public Museum traced out many of the town's walls and uncovered thousands of artifacts. Between the late 1940s and 1960s, researchers continued with excavations using more modern technology, such as radiocarbon dating. Portions of the mounds were excavated and some walls were reconstructed. They also unearthed outlines and interior features of small but well-built houses. Dr. Lynn Goldstein of Michigan State University has led excavations since the 1970s and discovered new aspects of the town layout, including a food depot with large storage pits arranged in tiers.
We discovered 70 pits that were 2 meters deep and 2 meters across.
Wow.
And that was dug into gravel. And they're lined with mats, and then they sculpted the surface. So think about that, using stone tools and shell. I mean, that's phenomenal. That's a phenomenal thing.
One of the most revealing excavations took place in 1984 in a grown-over ravine along the banks of the Crawfish River, a place used by generations of Aztlan people to dispose of garbage. University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee archaeologist Dr. John Richards led the excavation of the area and found neat layers sealed by time that help trace the history of the town.
The bottom part of the midden, the very dark band that you see that's labeled S11, represents a late woodland deposit. There are no materials in there that would suggest that there were any Mississippian people present at the site at the time this was being deposited. And as we proceeded up through the midden, we could see instances where people were dumping their household garbage, cold ashes from cooking fires, charcoal, broken bits of pottery, the remains of dinners, and filling this area up. But it wasn't until the very top portions of the midden that we recovered the Mississippian pottery.
Bottom line is, guys, 1,000 years ago, this was a busy place. Now,
damn, so just 1,000 years? Man, you know they rolled up on you, man, before the 1400s, man, and now we're in 2017, so-called. We're just talking 1,000 years. Who else are we talking about but the copper-colored races found here by the European? It was a busy place. Now they have you busy in cities, and your lands are abandoned.
we call Aztlan a place of history and mystery.
Mystery.
One of the big mysteries. After living here for about 250, 300 years, and building this big wall and building these mounds, for some reason, these people abandoned Aztlan. They just
Whoa, for some reason?
these mounds, for some reason, these people abandoned Aztlan. These mounds, for some reason, these people abandoned Aztlan.
This is what they're teaching as lies to the children. They have no idea why these people abandoned Aztlan. We have no idea why these people abandoned Aztlan. The copper-colored races, the dumb Diversas saying subjugate all of these Negroes everywhere and put them in perpetual servitude. Where did they go? The Ame'ricans, native of America, originally applied to you so-called Negroes or copper-colored people, tribes that were found here. We don't know where they went. We don't know. We don't get it because they were found here. Hijack City. But now applied, so the title is now applied to the descendants or successors of the invaders of America. So now the invaders carry the title American, and this fool is saying what? For some reason, even though we invaded America, we don't know why they left.
For some reason, these people abandoned Aztlan. They just up and left.
But many archaeologists believe the answers to these mysteries still lie at Aztlan.
I'd like to see a lot more archaeology done here, and I would like to see archaeology targeted at addressing some of the issues that Aztlan is particularly capable of answering.
The uniqueness and importance of Aztlan in American history led to its designation as a National Historic Landmark. It is Wisconsin's premier archaeological site and is a place greatly respected and valued by contemporary Indian people.
It's important. It's rich.
Look at this hijack. Pretending to be, American. He's pretending to be American, right? Native American. He's pretending to be a copper-colored race. Now, this is in their dictionary, in the Noah Webster, as a definition of who the actual original people are. Negroes. And this guy comes up and says, we as Americans, we as descendants of Europeans born in America, now they're American, now applied to the descendants of Europeans born in America, and why fucking lie?
It's important. It's rich. It's a tremendous value
that can be given to ourselves as Native
The Ho Chunk Nation.
Young and old, traditional.
He's not a Ho Chunk, he's a Ho Chunk. Let's go.
Non-traditional. It's a part of where we came from.
Today, Aztalan is a popular Wisconsin state park that attracts tens of thousands of visitors.
Your land's trodden down by Gentiles.
The Department of Natural Resources offers regular tours. And the Friends of Aztalan State Park provide many volunteer services, including educational events.
Your land is trodden down by Gentiles.
The park also offers a unique educational environment for school children to learn more about Native American history.
To make the arrowhead, they didn't have knives.
Your land is trodden down by Gentiles.
Back then, so how did they chip the rocks and shape them?
Either with another stone or oftentimes with a deer antler.
He has no fucking clue, but look how he lies to children.
Aztalan State Park is open year-round, 1 mile east of Lake Mills, which offers several lodging, dining, and shopping options, and a variety of recreational activities for you to enjoy. It's also surrounded by many historic areas and towns. Come explore the mysteries of America's ancient Indian past at Aztalan State Park.
Wow. Man, love to see Jay Battle. He hit us with that joint, man. Let's get a piece of this.
This is a crew of archaeologists who are unearthing an ancient Indian culture which originally was located at what now is the site of Aztalan State Park near Lake Mills in southeastern Wisconsin. I'm Wilbur Seitz, your Wisconsin Conservation Department outdoor reporter. This is a very interesting expedition that's being conducted here, and the two who are in charge of this expedition are here with me to give us some information about it. Here we have Jay Brandon, who is Director of Archaeological Programs for the State Historical Society, and Joan Freeman, who is Curator of Anthropology for the Historical Society.